everybody got one of the Hall of Fame induction programs. It, to me, was like a walk through memory lane. I'm going to talk to you a little bit. There's slides that are going through about our inaugural Wall of Fame class of inductees. It's a very special group. You know, Duval County 4-H has been a program that's been going on for decades and decades. My name is Patrick Joyce. I'm currently the president of the 4-H Foundation. It's an honor to welcome you all to here tonight. It's an honor a particular honor to welcome our very special guests, our inaugural class to the 4-H Wall of Fame. It's been a long process, made a little longer by the pandemic, and we're going to talk a little bit about how much work Dr. Howard Aker did to make this night possible. We'll talk about that when we get everybody's belly full and everybody settled in for a program. But it's going to be a 4-H Foundation annual meeting unlike any that I know I've ever been to. And I hope you all are as excited as I am to honor our very, very special guests. With that, I'm going to invite Kyle Estes up to offer the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag, and Andrew Heddick to do the 4-H pledge. I'd ask all of you to stand and gentlemen to take your hats off while we pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I pledge my head to clear thinking, my heart to prayer loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living, for my club, my community, my country, and my world.
All right, please take your seat. We're going to get ready to have supper here in just a few minutes. But before we do that, I kind of put Kelsey on the spot. We do have some of our county council members here. And, you know, at bottom, the reason that we're all here, the reason the 4-H Foundation exists, is to create opportunities for young people within the 4-H program to expand educational opportunities, learn about their government, learn about agriculture, learn about rocketry, learn about any number of things. And so the young people who volunteer and who are part of the county council, I think, are worthy of just a few minutes of recognition and appreciation. So Kelsey, if you can come up and introduce our county council members who are here tonight.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Kelsey Cook, and I am one of the 4-H agents here in Duval County. And I would like to introduce to you some of the County Council Team Leadership Club members that we have here tonight. And they'll be roaming around, so feel free to introduce yourself and strike a conversation with them. So they'll just wave as I introduce them. A lot of them are still out here helping with selling tickets and checking people in. But Carrington Henderson, she's our president. Hello, everyone. Ziana Curtis is our secretary. Kyle Estes is our treasurer. Andrew Heddick is our reporter. And Thomas Reed is our parliamentarian. Thank you.
So tonight is a night about memories, at least it is for me. I hope it is for many of you. I hope that, as I said, as you look through this program, it sparks a lot of memories of days gone by and some very special times. We'll talk more about that after supper. But it's important, of course, to remember that our focus is the kids. And I was here for the Parade of Champions the other night and watching Curtis Moore hand out belt buckles on behalf of the Farm Bureau to some of the kids who had won with their animals, and it's just something special. something special about the idea that kids on a Saturday night are out here moving 2,500-pound bulls around and taking care of them day after day, and week after week, and month after month. And it's a very special thing that the 4-H program provides to these kids. And so keeping the kids in the forefront is what we always want to do, even as tonight we look back on some of our heroes from the past. Alan Moore, where are you? Can I ask you to give the invocation before we eat supper?
Good evening, everyone. I think most of you know me. As I look around this crowd, I see a lot of faces that I've known for a number of years, and of course some new faces, and it's always a pleasure to be in the mix. So I've been asked to give the blessing this evening, and I'm honored and humbled to do so. If you would now bow your heads. Father, we come once again to give you thanks for this day and this opportunity to come and take this powerful blessing that you allowed to be prepared. We ask you to bless it so that we use and nourishment of our bodies for your sake. Father, we thank you for the prepared meal, for the hands that raised it, and for those of us who are now partaking of it. We ask you to bless it so we can be of better service to you, and better service to those who are you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore is our Vice President of the 4-H Foundation. Please continue to come in, find your seats. You are just in time for supper. Rather than make this complicated, I know Ray Turner used to have his little special way of picking which table went first. I don't remember his special way, so we're just going to start at that end. If that table will stand, and go ahead and get in line, and then each table can follow after that. Enjoy a great supper. I think it's good that we gave thanks to the Lord, but I think we should offer a round of applause to these folks who have worked so hard to prepare this meal. So let's give them a hand. Enjoy your supper. We'll be back with you in a few minutes.
How are you doing?
I'll introduce the Duval County Extension Director, Stephanie Coley, and ask her to address the crowd.
Thank you, Patrick. Well, good evening. We appreciate you all being here tonight. I'm the director of the Duval County Extension Office, and I just want to take a moment to recognize the foundation. First, to recognize the officers, we have Patrick Joyce, our president, who's been speaking to you. Alan Moore, the vice president in the back. Lorelei Fox, who is secretary. And Frank Wallmeyer, treasurer. I know he's here too. There we go, in the back. Along with our directors, Dr. Howard Acree. I believe he's here. Okay, right back there. Leslie Allen, Bonnie Daly, Gerald Burrows, Nicole Calloway, Princess Evans, Carolyn Fouché, Charlotte Joyce, Dr. Barry Moore, Sherry Omer, Kenneth Peel Jr., Doug Webb, County Council President Carrington Henderson, and Office Administrator Terry Weaver, who's in the back. Thank you, thank you. Give a round of applause. Also, I want to mention the honorary directors, who include Tom Braddock, Elwood Geiger, Marilyn Molesky, who is right towards the center of the room, Dennis Jamies, Bob Miles, Gary Rogner, and Reverend Ray Turner. I believe he's I want to express deep appreciation of the support of our 4-H Foundation members. We could not do the level of programming we do without your support. If you are not a foundation member and would like to become involved, please see Terry Weaver, our foundation manager. Again, she's in the back. Or we have a membership brochure at the back of the room which you can pick up or on your way out. Now, I am also privileged to give honor to our own 4-H secretary, Gay Schmidt. Gay is over
over there on this side.
Tell her to come up.
Gay has been with Duval County 4-H since March 2001 and is retiring with 20 years of service to the program and the city of Jacksonville. She has loved the mission of 4-H and worked odd hours to make the best better. She has worked with a number of agents, including Anita McKinney, Debbie Nisler, Noel Connor Franco, Trisha Howell, I believe Ernest Stevens as well, Stephanie Kratz Connor, Josh Pickett, Lorna Davis Fuller, Andy Tolley, Jessica Cooper Alton, Stacy Sachs Amosh, Kelsey Cook, and Grace Carter. Plus program assistants, which include those tonight, Mira Daniels, Miranda Bird, and Shantae Stevens. Foundation managers that she has worked with include Judy Toulouse, who's up here in the front, Kimberly Lassiter, and Terry Weaver. Talk about flexibility. I don't know if I left anyone out. Let's take a round of applause for Gay Schmidt. Gay, would you please come to the front of the room?
There's another car that's going around. You can ask it for her later.
Gay, we greatly appreciate your service to the 4-H program and the city. All right, now it is a great honor that we are accepting the inaugural class of the Duval County 4-H Hall of Fame. With that, I'm going to turn the podium over to Patrick Joyce.
Thank you, Stephanie. So if I can invite Dr. Acree to come up, and I think one of our 4-Hers is going to help us with our certificate presentation. You are seeing a catalog of very memory-evoking old photographs. I hope you've enjoyed it through supper. I know I have. I feel like this is my own personal version of This Is Your Life. I joined the Duval County Extension Office as an ag agent about 30 years ago with a college degree and not much else, and learned from Dalton Dowdy. I think Dalton and I went out in a boat in one of his retention ponds and drove a piece of PVC pipe. I know Dalton was in the back sitting down, and I was standing up and had a sledgehammer, and I was putting PVC down in the bottom of his pond so we could put a pump in. And then I look over here and I see Ernest Stevens, who was always the can-do man. He said, "There's nothing you can't do, just do it."
Thank you.
And that's Ernest Stevens, and I see the beautiful Tamer Britton, who was always such an inspiration to me. She was always the extension agent I always wanted to be. And so was Marilyn Halusky, the 4-H program leader for so long. There's just so many good memories and so many good friends here. I hope you enjoyed tonight as much as I do. I see Dr. Acree over there. You know, one of the first things I did when I got here was Dr. Acree's dad was in charge of brucellosis testing for all the kids who wanted to put their 4-H cows in the fair. And Mr. Braddock said, "You're going to go with Dr. Acree and you're going to learn where all the farms are in the county." And so that's the first thing that I did when I got here about 30 years ago. So I take tonight very personally. I want to start by saying that Dr. Acree was the driving force behind all of this. He made tonight happen. It's been a couple of years in the planning. Obviously, we got sidetracked last year by the pandemic, but Dr. Acree has been tireless and faithless in his desire to set up this wall of fame, and I ask that you would all give him a round of applause for his dedication to 4-H. And if you've been reading the papers, I don't think it's a secret anymore. I've been telling the board to keep it a secret, but I don't think it's a secret anymore that there's a plan afoot to move the fair out to the west side of Jacksonville, out to the Cecil Commerce Center. And Dr. Acree had the foresight to make our Wall of Fame portable. And so wherever we go, it goes. And so at the conclusion of tonight, I hope that after we have all of our presentations, you'll take a few minutes to walk over. If you go into the lobby of the barn, at the far end of the barn, walk into that entrance, and you can see the Wall of Fame. It's portable, but it's not so portable that we can bring it here tonight. It's pretty sturdy, so we're going to leave it over there and invite you to go see it. So with that, we'll begin our induction. My 4-H'ers got our certificates, and I think I've got an accurate list of who's here and who's not here and who's got family members here. We want to respect your time. Obviously, you know, we're talking about 33 people, and you could talk for an hour about each one and not encompass all the benefit they've done to 4-H and given to 4-H. So we're going to respect your time and not keep you here all night, but just give you a little bit of flavor, a little bit of insight into each one of these very special people, and welcome them to the inaugural class, the 2021 class of the Duval County 4-H Foundation's Wall of Fame. So the first one up is Leslie Allen. Now you all can see the pictures. I can't see the pictures. I don't know how well timed these are going to be to my comments, but eventually, if Leslie's not up there now, then she will be soon. I couldn't decide when I was going to talk about Leslie. You know, people talk about the glue that holds everything together, and people talk about the straw that stirs the drink. I'm not sure which category she falls in, probably both. Leslie has been a stalwart and faithful and regular participant for over 40 years as a member of the Duval County 4-H Foundation Board and a member of the Board of Directors for 20 years. So she's certainly the glue that holds everything together, but she's also the straw that stirs the drink. She always has an insightful comment, always has something to say that certainly I and a lot of other people have never thought of. And so we appreciate you, Leslie. Congratulations. And as you're welcome to follow me through your program. Hopefully you got one. Our next inductee is Vera Andrews. I don't believe that Ms. Andrews is here tonight or has any representation. If I'm wrong, please let me know that. I'm happy to be proven wrong. Ms. Andrews was an FNEP program assistant. FNEP stands for Expanded Food and Nutrition. She was a dedicated worker in FNEP clubs to teach low-income folks how to learn nutrition skills for their children and their families. She was dedicated not only to 4-H clubs in principle, but also in acts, as she made sure they participated by signing every kid up that she could find and transporting them to events. So congratulations to Ms. Vera Andrews. All right, Valerie, I know you're here. Valerie Ansel, please come up. Valerie's a special person. She started the Duval County 4-H Rabbiteers Club many years ago to introduce Jacksonville youth to animal science through small animals. You know, so much of our barn. This is, by the way, the Greater Jacksonville Agricultural Fair. This fair has stayed true to its agricultural roots since the barn was built. I think in 1989, it's been filled with all kinds of animals, and a large part of that animal display is the chickens and the rabbits. And Valerie had a large part in the introduction of young people to animal science through the Rabbit Club that she started. She is a very special part of our legacy. She has moved south now and is continuing her good work there, but will always be remembered in Duval County for her contribution to the Duval County 4-H Foundation. Thank you, Valerie. Next up is Mr. Tom Braddock. I said I could talk an hour about each of these inductees. I could probably talk for 3 or 4 hours about Tom Braddock. He's one of my heroes in life. He's the person who brought me to Jacksonville about 30 years ago to serve as an extension agent. He's a gentleman's gentleman. There's just so much you could say about Tom Braddock. He started in 1957 as an agent, became the extension director, I think in 1971 or 1972, and served for more than 20 years there. He succeeded Jim Watson, who we're going to talk about in just a little bit, and there's not enough good that can be said about Tom Braddock as far as I'm concerned. I know y'all know him. I know y'all love him. I don't think he's got any representative here tonight. Obviously, his wife Mary passed earlier this year, and I think he's had a little harder time getting around. But I certainly want to give my congratulations, and I know you will too, to Tom Braddock, an inaugural member of the 4-H Hall of Fame. Next up is Judy Butterfield. I saw some of her photographs sliding across the screen. I don't believe Judy was able to be here tonight. She was here around the time that Stephanie and I started. She was an expanded food nutrition agent who worked with the lower income youth to deliver food and nutrition education, workforce development programs, and consumer education. Congratulations, Judy Butterfield, one of our inaugural members. Next is Joy Clark. She was one of the pioneers in homeschooling in Duval County and chose to include 4-H material in her curriculum, which I think is innovative and something that people could learn from today. Obviously, homeschooling is something that's gained popularity, and a lot more folks are doing it. And I've always thought, you know, this is a long time ago, but 4-H used to, everything's online now, but 4-H used to do everything by flyers and pamphlets, and the inclusion of 4-H programming, wholesome, good stuff, would benefit the children of today. Joy Clark was in the forefront of that. She was participating in many district, state, and national events, 4-H legislature, Congress, Camp Cherry Lake, and Citizen Washington Focus. Enthusiastic and inspirational leader, a worthy and deserving member to be part of our inaugural class. Congratulations to Joy Clark. Next up is Brian Cooksey. I believe Brian's family is here to accept his certificate. Is that right? If so, please come up. Brian Cooksey grew up in a farming family, was active in FFA, was an assistant county agent in Escambia County before he moved on and started his alternative business career here in Jacksonville. I remember the first time Tom Braddock introduced me to Brian Cooksey. He said, see, this guy used to be a 4-H, this guy used to be an extension agent, and then he went on to get another job. And I thought, okay, is that possible? And then that's what I did too. So I followed in Brian's footsteps. Brian Cooksey is a former member of the Duval County 4-H Foundation Board and a patron level supporter and a worthy inductee into our inaugural class. Congratulations to Brian Cooksey. Mr. Bill Crawford, I believe is here. If you'll come forward for your certificate, Mr. Crawford. Bill and his wife Barbara work to provide opportunities for underprivileged kids in Jacksonville and began the Bill and Barbara Crawford Camp Cherry Lake Scholarship to send youth to 4-H summer camp. If you've never been to Camp Cherry Lake, I encourage you to go. It's not too late. And in the post-COVID world, I think it's open and available for business. Camp Cherry Lake is a special place, and we very much appreciate Bill and his wife Barbara starting a scholarship to allow 4-H youth in Duval County to attend Cherry Lake. Thank you, Mr. Crawford, and welcome to the Hall of Fame. Next is Mr. George Corey. I believe his family is here to accept his certificate on his behalf. Is that right? Please come if you're able. Or Dr. Akery, do you want to take a certificate? George Corey was a longtime supporter of both the Duval County Extension Program and the 4-H Foundation. On the board of directors for many, many years, for decades, set up a booth at this very fair to raise support for the Duval County 4-H program. Tireless in his dedication, absolutely faithful to young people of Jacksonville. In 2008, George and his wife Elizabeth established an endowment for the foundation. He was a patron of the board for more than 30 years. Thank you to Mr. George Corey, and welcome to the Hall of Fame. Now it's my privilege to introduce my dear friend Dalton Dowdy, who's here. I'm so glad to see Dalton and Claire here tonight. Dr. Akery, do you want to take Dalton's certificate? Dalton has had a long and storied career in Duval County Agriculture and Duval County Extension and in the Duval County 4-H program, living off of Gunn Avenue, working not only the land, working not only animals, but also a world-class woodworker. He's a buggy maker. He made buggies for Walt Disney World, for Anheuser-Busch. He made buggies for the 4-H Foundation. Some of you are lucky enough to have buggies that Dalton Dowdy made that were raffled off in years past. Dalton is everybody's go-to man. I asked him when I saw him early tonight, we had a cattleman's dinner last night, and for as long as I can remember, Dalton Dowdy was in charge of cooking the corn for Duval County Cattlemen's Association events, not only at the fair, but everywhere else. So, Dalton, it's so good to see you here tonight. It's so good to see you and Miss Claire. Congratulations and welcome to the 4-H Foundation Hall of Fame. Mary Graves is next. She was a club leader. I don't believe Miss Graves is here. If I'm wrong, I'm happy to be told. Oh, we do have a representative. Wonderful. Hello, Miss Graves. A club leader. I got bad intel. It's my fault. Miss Graves was a club leader for 18 years with Joy Clark, who we've already talked about with the Happy Homers 4-H Club. Took her members to the Central Florida and the Florida State Fair for many years, chaperoned Camp Cherry Lake and students to Marine Camp, helped 4-H members complete many innumerable projects, including sewing, canning, and public speaking. She and her husband Richard continue to support the foundation as patron members. Thank you, Mary Graves, and welcome to the inaugural class of the Duval County 4-H Hall of Fame. Next up is Mr. Elwood Giger. Mr. Giger passed away some years ago. I don't believe anybody is here representing him, but he is certainly worthy of this honor. He is not only in the inaugural class of the Hall of Fame, he was also on the inaugural Duval County 4-H Foundation Board, which I think started back in like 1975. He continued to serve 4-H until 2003. And also was a faithful participant in the 4-H's Lunch Wagon fundraising program. He was known for his forestry skills. I never knew anyone smarter about forestry, and it is an honor to welcome Elwood Giger, even posthumously, to the 4-H Hall of Fame. Well, I mentioned Marilyn Halusky in my opening remarks. Marilyn, it is so good to see you. I hope you'll come down and get your certificate. When I started here, Marilyn was the 4-H program director. She had been in that position since 1976 and served faithfully the University of Florida and the 4-H Foundation through 1998 and even thereafter. Under her leadership, there were more than 86 active community clubs. She developed the I Can, We Can Challenge adventure program. She was a pioneer in 4-H leadership, including providing unique experiences for 4-Hers like hiking the Appalachian Trail and canoeing across the Okefenokee Swamp. She is a gem, a treasure, and will always be part of the legacy of the 4-H program in Jacksonville. Welcome Marilyn Halusky to the 4-H Foundation. Cheryl Hanson, I know that you are here. Will you come up and get your certificate? Or would you like Dr. Aker to come that way? Now, Cheryl Hanson has many accomplishments in her life. Her experience on her family's dairy farm allowed her to assist with animal projects for youth over the many years, but she enjoyed working with all types of clubs. She was a program assistant in the Duval County Extension Office when I arrived. Her greatest accomplishment, as far as I'm concerned, is having Dale Hanson, her son, who was my best friend at the University of Florida in the dairy science class. So, welcome Cheryl Hanson. Thank you for all your contributions. Patrick Hartman went by Pat. He was a farrier in Duval County. He was a shoer of horses, had a passion and education for educating young people about horse and horsemanship skills, always prepared to help 4-H clubs with their animals, and we're happy to welcome and thank Patrick Hartman for his contributions to Duval County 4-H Foundation. Next is Irene Hudgens. I believe she's got family members here to accept her certificate. Ms. Hudgens was a club leader on the north side of Jacksonville for the Highlands Cool Clovers 4-H Club. Absolutely an exceptional recruiter for her local 4-H clubs. Again, like Ms. Vera, dedicated not only to signing kids up, but making sure they had a ride everywhere they needed to be. Her club members learned gardening, animal husbandry, life skills, and most importantly, in Ms. Hudgens' mind, moral character. And so it's an honor to welcome Irene Hudgens and to welcome her family here tonight as an inaugural member of the Hall of Fame. Next in your program are Tracy and Michael King. Tracy and Michael, if you'll come up. Again, just like Marilyn, absolute stalwarts of the 4-H Foundation, not only using their personal time to devote to the kids in Jacksonville, but also using their professional experience. Both are career financial advisors at Wells Fargo and have absolutely been instrumental. I know that, you know, the board set a goal a long time ago of getting to a $500,000 foundation level, and that was very recently achieved, thanks in large part, in my mind, to the efforts of Tracy and Michael Kinney to guide and advise the board on investments. They have done an absolutely spectacular job, and we are where we are in large part because of them. Congratulations and welcome to the Hall of Fame.
Good job.
Next is Judy Lovelace. Ms. Lovelace, please come forward and receive your certificate and our congratulations. Ms. Lovelace grew up in the Ohio 4-H program, where she participated in camping, equine, food, and clothing projects, worked as a nutrition educator and as a 4-H program assistant, moved to Jacksonville more than 20 years ago, and was hired to work for the foundation. She was instrumental in starting our program, sort of formulating what Terry Weaver has followed after in terms of developing sponsors, donors, and grant writing. Ms. Lovelace, congratulations and thank you. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. Next is Bob Miles. I don't believe Bob has got anybody here tonight. If I'm wrong, please tell me. Bob, to know Bob was to love him. Bob was recruited personally by Tom Braddock to work on the foundation's board of directors. He was instrumental in starting the seafood cookout. Who's been to a seafood cookout? Just out of curiosity, how old is our crowd here? Because the seafood cookout stopped a long time ago, but there was a time back in the early to mid 90s where in March there was no place better to be than up on Amelia Island with Tom Braddock and Bob Miles and Marilyn Halusky and a lot of the people who were around that time. And the seafood cookout was one of the favorites. Bob was part of that. In 2021, Bob and his wife Joyce founded a Green Clover Club endowment for the foundation for that and many other accomplishments. It's my pleasure to welcome Bob Miles to the Duval County 4-H Hall of Fame. Much can be said of Bob's wife, Joyce. Joyce was a family and consumer sciences teacher for 31 years. She volunteered on any number of Duval County extension advisory committees. The Duval County, not just 4-H, but all of the programs are consumer-driven. Extension agents are tasked with going out and finding members of their community to be involved and to participate and tell us what educational programs are needed. And Joyce Miles was a faithful participant in that. Obviously was involved with her husband Bob in the efforts of the foundation and was a great volunteer at the Greater Jacksonville Agricultural Fair. So please help me welcome Joyce Miles posthumously to the Hall of Fame. All right, Miss Marge Medeski is next. I believe she's got family here to receive her certificate, if I'm right. Welcome, thank you for being here. Ms. Medeski led the Beaches 4-H Club for a decade and a half, was also a great and wonderful member of our Duval County 4-H Foundation Board. As a youth, Ms. Medeski participated in 4-H demonstrations, camps, and 4-H National Congress, won National Leader of the Year many times, and is a great legacy member of the Duval County 4-H Foundation. And welcome Ms. Marge Medeski to the Hall of Fame. Teresa Pennington, would you come forward, please? Teresa Pennington is no stranger to many of you. In 1994, she opened the Windermere Equestrian Center and has her 4-H program permanently housed there. She is the equine leader, in my opinion, in Duval County, has been instrumental in programming and helping young people to learn the art of animal science in the horse realm for decades now. A valuable member of our community, an important part of the 4-H Foundation, and I hope you'll join me in welcoming her to the Hall of Fame. Annie Ruth Smith is next. I don't believe Ms. Smith has any representative here, but she should, because she is an important part of the FNET program. Again, expanded food and nutrition program, education for low-income families, used our vacation time each year to chaperone kids to Cherry Lake, ensured that her club members were participants in county events, My Government Day, City County Council. Very important contributor over the years. You know, these inaugural celebrations are difficult. Each year it gets a little bit easier to kind of pare down the list, but here the committee that was led by Dr. Akery, that was faced with the task of looking back over decades of history to identify folks to inaugurate tonight, had a tall order. And Annie Ruth Smith is certainly a worthy inclusion. I hope you'll help me congratulate her on being inaugurated. All right, my man, Ernest Stevens. I think, so I got interviewed by Tom Braddock, I think in Gainesville, and then I moved my family to Jacksonville, and when I walked into the office, I don't think Ernest will remember this. Ernest is the first man I met. Ernest is the first face that I saw, and he had that same smile that he's got on his face right now. He's a smiling man, and he's a can-do man, and just whatever needs to get done, Ernest just finds a way to get it done. He's a proud Rattler, graduated from Florida A&M. He's an even prouder Gator, graduated from the University of Florida School of Agriculture. He served as the Duval, served as a 4-H agent in the Duval County Extension Program for over 30 years, dedicating many of those decades, most of that time, to programming for urban youth. His school enrichment approach started back in the early 70s and is still revered by many 4-H professionals, not only in Florida, but throughout the nation. I hope you'll join me in welcoming my very dear friend, Ernest Stevens. You're a good man. Kathleen Summersill. Is Kathleen's family here? Please come up and accept Kathleen's certificate. Kathleen Summersill grew up in Nassau County, where she was a 4-H member. She started when she was an adult, started the Homemakers 4-H Club in Duval County, taught club members about gardening, sewing, cooking, and much more. All the traditional family and consumer sciences. In addition to her club work, she worked with the fair as superintendent of the rabbit show. I've already told you how much I appreciate the rabbit and the chicken folks who work so hard to give us a exhibit that's suitable for the public to come see. Please join me in welcoming Kathleen Summersill as a member of the 4-H Hall of Fame. Next is Wilma Tyndall. I believe her family's here, or she's got a representative to accept her certificate. Am I right? There he is. Please come forward. Wilma Tyndall was a friend of children, loved working with young people, started the first girls 4-H club in Mandarin. She was a mentor. She was an investor in the lives of young people, especially young women, traveling with them not only to 4-H Camp Cherry Lake, but also Rock Eagle and the 4-H programs across the country. Served as a club leader for over 15 years, and I hope you'll join me in welcoming Ms. Tyndall to the 4-H Hall of Fame. Reverend Ray Turner. Does Reverend Ray have somebody here to accept his certificate? There he is. So I wish Ray Turner was here because I could, while he was walking up, I could give him back all the grief that he gave me over the years. Does anybody remember being at these things when they were fundraising and Ray would walk around and hang on your table and hold his hand out in front of you? I miss it. Brother Ray grew up in Georgia. If you know him, you love him. He worked for George Corey for many years, was recruited by George and Tom to join the foundation board, and went on to serve more than 2 decades in that role. He continues, even though he's moved back to Georgia, to support the foundation as a sponsor, and there's nobody on the list more worthy than Ray Turner to be admitted tonight. So I hope you'll join me in welcoming Ray Turner to all. James Watson is a legacy figure in Duval County. Obviously, if you have been around for a while, you know that Jim Watson preceded Tom Braddock as the county extension director. I guess as time goes by, more and more needs to be said. If I would be standing here 20 years ago, probably nothing would have to be said about Jim Watson. Everybody would just know the name and know his contribution to Duval County agriculture, to Duval County extension, and to Duval County 4-H in particular. He was for decades the face of agriculture in Duval County, and I hope you'll join me in welcoming Jim Watson to the Hall of Fame. All right, we're coming down to the short rows. If your name has not been called yet, you're running out of time. The last one on our list is Doug Webb. I'm sick to my stomach that Doug could not be here tonight. Ann had some medical procedure done today. She's just fine. She's doing great. But obviously Doug's place is by Ann's side. I don't know. Boy, Doug's another one of those people I could just stand here and talk about. Doug is Tom Braddock's right-hand man, but in his own right has been the driving force behind the Munch Wagon, sponsoring not only a lot of fundraising events, also an integral part of the Seafood Cookout, and establishing in 2015 with his wife the Green Clover Club endowment in honor of his parents. Doug Webb is a special part of our foundation. We send out our prayers to Ann tonight as she's recovering, and I hope you'll join me in welcoming Doug Webb before HR. So let's give one final round of applause. You've now met the 33 honorees, and we are very proud that you'll be able to walk over tonight and see what has been a labor of love for everybody, but especially for Dr. Aiken. Thank you, Dr. See, that's how integral Leslie is to the program. She comes up and tells me I need to do what's right here on the program. That's good. I need help. All right, so this is going to be a very simple vote of the association. The recommendation from the nominating committee is that the board and the officers remain unchanged for the year 2021-2022. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Any discussion? See, if Ray Turner was here, he'd want to have a discussion. All in favor, say aye. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Carrington Henderson for closing thoughts.
Good evening. My name is Carrington Henderson. I am this year's County Council Senior Leadership Club President. It is my pleasure to be here with you all this evening. Thank you all so much for being a foundation member, donor, and friend to Duval 4-H. Without each and every one of you, our program could not and would not thrive. A special thank you to all of those who have been inducted into Duval 4-H Hall of Fame. It is inspiring to hear your stories and impacts you have made to the 4-H program. Building the program, I get to be a part of it. Thank you for your dedication and passion for 4-H. I have been in 4-H for 7 years and I've gotten to experience so many different programs, met so many new people that became friends and expanded my leadership and social skills. One of my favorite is being a camp counselor at 4-H Camp Cherry Lake, and although we have missed the last 2 summers, I'm excited to go back to camp soon. Our County Council Teen Leadership Club is already planning for a great year, hosting events like My Government Day, Teen Socials, Holiday Bake Off, and summer day camp programs. Despite the pandemic, 4-H has been a place for us to come together virtually and now in person to connect, learn, and grow together. We are looking forward to another great year. Thank you for joining us this evening and supporting the 4-H program. Thank you and safe travels home.
So you all have been very patient tonight. It was a long program. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate your support of the Greater Jacksonville Agricultural Fair, and especially the 4-H Foundation. These young people are worthy of your support. I hope you'll consider continuing to contribute. There's some opportunities to do that. Doug Webb has procured a heifer who's going to be auctioned off at the Farm City Week Luncheon. You get those tickets out here. And so there's all kinds of opportunities to be involved and participate and become a future Hall of Fame member, which I encourage you to be. Last announcement, one Foxy lady did a great job on supper tonight, but they overdid it. And so they've got a lot of extra food. There's to-go plates up here. You are welcome on your way out to come out and fill a to-go plate and take home to your family who couldn't be here. Again, thank you and congratulations to all of our inductees. Have a safe trip home.